A co-leader in the AFC Central with the Cleveland Browns. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Don Crickey. We already have one upset winner today, and that's the weather. Normally, the December 1st menu in Pittsburg, Pennsylvania is cold and snow. Today, it is beautiful. Temperature in the 60s, clear and sunny skies. I'm joined, as usual, by former Cincinnati All-Pro Bob Trumpy, and by a special guest today, pro football expert Paul Zimmerman of Sports Illustrated magazine. Zim, this is a tough place for any visiting team to win at. What does Denver have to do?
Don, if you remember last year when they met in the playoffs, the burden was on John Elway, and he was banged up, and he got hurt worse during the game. Running attack went nowhere. They carried 6 times for 16 yards in the second half. I think it's the same cast of characters except for deep threat Vance Johnson, and the burden will be on Elway. He's got to have a good game today.
All right, there you have it, Bob. Mr. Zimmerman thinks the focal point is John Elway.
Don, this is scary. I agree with Mr. Zimmerman. Anytime you play the Pittsburgh Steelers, you must beat their defense. And over the course of this 85 season, defensive coordinator Tony Dungy made slight changes in this defense from a real chance-taking defense to very conservative. Mike Merriweather, the big sacker last year, no sacks in the last 8 games, just 8 interceptions in the last 8 games. They play very tough defense. And the nose tackle, Gary Dunn, back finally after a bad ankle injury, is the anchor to this defense. It's the best pass defense in the NFL. It's the second best defense you can find overall in the NFL. And this is a stifling Pittsburgh defense once again.
So we're set to go at Three River Stadium. The Steelers and the Broncos, of course, hooked up in that AFC playoff game, Mile High Stadium last December. The Steelers ran the ball well, shut down the Denver running game, and won it. An upset victory for Pittsburgh that day after Denver had completed a 13-3 regular season. Now the Broncos, who have a history of winning close games under Dan Reeves the last couple of years, come in with an 8-4 record. As you see, the deep men for Pittsburgh. Todd Spencer is back to the left. Back with him is Rich Ehrenberg. Here's the kickoff by Carlos, and again, he does not hit it well. It's been a continuing problem for Carlos. A spinner to the 10. Ehrenberg cutting cross field. Broncos try to hem him in, and finally, he's run out of bounds, but the return is good. Coming across was Tony Lilly. A 21-yard return by Rich Ehrenberg, and now the Steelers go on offense with David Woodley at quarterback. He's been hospitalized in the last week. Had a very severe case of intestinal flu. They've transfused him with glucose, try to get his strength back up. He worked out a couple of days this week, and apparently they feel he is ready to go. Regular starter Malone is out with an injured toe, has missed 4 games, and little used Scott Campbell's the third quarterback. Here's a handoff. The Steelers go to the run, and Abercrombie takes it out to the 35-yard line. The Denver coaches feel that priority number 1 is to stop the Pittsburgh running game. The coaches have told their players at Denver, if you let them run, we're going to lose the game. Chavis, Carter, and Jones across the defensive front. Linebackers with emerging star Carl Mecklenburg, already with 8 sacks as an inside linebacker. And now, 13 weeks into the season, the Broncos secondary, a very good one, is intact with Foley back, ready to play. 2nd down and 7 coming up for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The run they go, and the Broncos shut down the run. Trump?
Don, you can see what the Denver Broncos idea is at the outset of this ball game. We announced the 3-man starting lineup. They went with a 4-man lineup. Simon Fletcher, the 4th defensive lineman. And they're going to try to shut down this Pittsburgh running game as quick as they possibly can. That is the secret to Pittsburgh. Control the line of scrimmage.
David Woodley, the quarterback, led the Steelers to 3 straight victories in the absence of Malone. Then missed last week's game, and Scott Campbell played against the Redskins in a loss. Right now, Woodley's going to have to put it up on 3rd down and 7. David Woodley against the blitz, eludes it for the moment. He's going to run for a 1st down as he crosses the 40 and gets to the 44-yard line. So David Woodley, you may remember as a Miami Dolphin, quarterbacked his team into the Super Bowl in the strike year. Gets ahead for a gain and a 1st down for Pittsburgh. Knocked down by cornerback Mike Harden of the Broncos.
Excellent job by Woodley. There was pressure all over the place from behind the defense. You see the game up front also coming with the blitz, the Denver Broncos. Woodley, who was a running quarterback for LSU in college. Good mobility there. Big 1st down pickup.
1st and 10 on the scramble by David Woodley. Abercrombie on a slant takes it out close to the 48-yard line of the Steelers. Pittsburgh has fumbled the ball less than any team in the National Football League. They've fumbled it away only 5 times this season. Abercrombie had a problem with fumbles last year, but this season he's been putting 2 arms on it. Although his yardage per carry average hasn't been what they'd like. It's under 4.
One of the big matchups you got today, center Mike Webster, 52, guy who has not missed a down in 12 years, versus Reuben Carter, the nose tackle of the Denver Broncos, who hasn't missed just 2 games in his entire career as a Bronco.
Now it's second down and a long 6. The pitch back goes to Pollard. The Broncos coming in and get him at the 50-yard line. He gained only 2 yards, was almost knocked down by Mecklenburg in the backfield. Coming across on the play to make the play was Steve Foley.
At Mecklenburg, very interesting story. Started out as a defensive lineman. Stan Jones makes him a linebacker. He'll line up everywhere but weak safety. One of the smartest and most versatile players the Denver Broncos have ever had. He knows all defensive line positions and all linebacker positions.
He was a draft day bargain, came in the 12th round at Carl Mecklenburg out of Minnesota, now his 3rd year. 3rd down and 4 coming up for the Steelers, scoreless first quarter. This is the opening drive. Woodley again eludes the rush by Rulon Jones and throws a strike that's dropped by Stallworth at the 43-yard line. Would have been a first down. John Stallworth, the longtime veteran, comes into this game with 62 receptions, and rarely does he drop a ball like that.
Don, you got that right. Normally the most sure-handed receiver you can find. He's made some of the most acrobatic catches, I think, in the history of the game.
Here's Harry Newsom now into punt. He's a rookie from Wake Forest. Had a punt blocked last week. Darrell Wilhite is back deep for the Broncos.
They're coming after him.
Gets it away. A spiral hit to the far side of the field. Wilhite on the run at the 16. Darrell Wilhite had a big game running the ball last weekend, and the absence of injured Sammy Winder is knocked out of bounds at the 24. So the Broncos have it when we... Back at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, this is Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy and football expert Paul Zimmerman of Sports Illustrated magazine. As the Denver Broncos now have the ball for the first time in the game after forcing the Steelers to punt. John Elway at quarterback. Sammy Winder's in the starting backfield. Just 10 days ago, arthroscopic knee surgery. Sammy's a gamer, though, and he's in there to start the game as the lone setback. 5 receivers to either side for the Denver Broncos as they go 1st and 10. Misconnection. Winder gets it, and he also gets a Steeler linebacker as he tries to go wide. Coming up to get him on the play was Mike Merriweather, a Pro Bowl linebacker a season ago for the Steelers, who had 15 sacks last year. Denver offensive line is veteran and solid and Studdard, Bishop, Bryan, Howard, and Lanier. Elway's been sacked 30 times. John Goodman now in the game for Pittsburgh, an extra pass rusher. There was a loss on that play of about a yard at 2nd down and 11. Elway goes to the draw play. Gene Lang takes it ahead and doesn't get much as some Steelers stayed at home. The key, as you pointed out, Trump, at the outset is Barry Dunn being in the lineup. Middle guard, he's missed a lot of games with ankle problems this year, but he can really shut down a running game.
You're absolutely correct. And if he can control the center of the Denver Broncos, Billy Bryan, that allows these linebackers to flow along that line of scrimmage and make changes. You can see Pittsburgh's idea here early. Give Elway one look at the last second, change the look completely.
3rd down and just over 10 coming up for Elway and the Broncos. John makes sure everybody's on the same page as he takes that shotgun snap. That's a rip, and he's got a man all the way out for a first down to the 35-yard line. Coming up with the ball was Vance Johnson, the super fast rookie from Arizona. An 11-yard gain, so a key throw by Elway. Tony Dungy, the defensive coordinator of the Steelers, told us Trump before the game, if Elway knows what the defense is going to be, he'll kill you. You've got to cross him up.
Here you see the change in the Pittsburgh defense. Just a 3-man rush, 8 guys back in coverage. This Pittsburgh defense allows 60% completion by their opponents, but for very few yards, Don.
Now Elway, with confidence forward, ready to pump it long again if he can. Down the middle he goes, and he skips it in wisely, incomplete. He was looking at the Clarence Kay on the play as John Elway went down. Willis putting a rush on him, and so was David Little.
You're going to see that all day, too. Now, there may occasionally be a blitz by the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it's an outside blitz, and it's not really intended for the sack. What it's intended for is containment. There you see that amazing statistic. 24th in allowing opponents completion, but first in yards per completion. That's the big change in his Pittsburgh defense in 1985.
It indicates a deep dropping zone. They'll let you throw in front of it. And not deep. Second down and 10 for Elway and the Broncos. A scoreless first quarter. Fastball and a strike for a first down out to the 48-yard line. Well-thrown ball. Clarence Kay comes down with it for a 14-yard gain as again John Elway drills heat right through the defense.
And you can see the ability of John Elway with that very quick arm. He is looking to the outside right. There's good coverage. You'll see Kay come from the left-hand side of the screen. He stops. When Elway stops, see the little hole in the defense? Elway with that very, very strong arm, able to get it there for a first down.
So Elway with a couple of big first down throws keeps the drive moving. First and 10 for the Broncos at their 49. Takes a hard shot at the 50-yard line. Got a hit for 3 down to the 47-yard line of Pittsburgh. Scoreboard changing. Cincinnati has gone in front of Houston. Larry Kinnebrew ran in from 7 yards out for the Bengals. And the Eagles have taken a 3-0 lead on a Paul McFadden field goal over the Vikings. Absolute perfect day in Pittsburgh. Temperature about 60 degrees. Clear, sunny day. There was a threat of rain. They've had a couple of weeks of rain here in the Pittsburgh area. Flooding conditions through November, but it's absolutely perfect today. John Elway with second and 7 goes to Winder. And the Steelers get him. He gets maybe a yard to the 46-yard line. Sammy Winder called on to start despite minor knee surgery just 10 days ago, if there is such a thing as minor knee surgery when you're a running back.
Well, I tell you what, that is incredible. Arthroscopic surgery now has made so many athletes so quick, so soon. Of course, he was the only Pro Bowl participant for the Denver Broncos last year, over 1,000 yards. This year, barely half of that.
3rd and 6 for the Broncos. They're one of the best in the NFL at converting third downs, over 42% this season. Willis left way early on a 3rd down and long 6 play. Play for the Broncos. It could be. We'll see if he was drawn offside as Wilhite gets down to the 25-yard line, but see what the referee calls here if he brings it all back.
Don Willis jumped, but so did Ken Lanier. When Willis came across the line of scrimmage, the Denver Broncos were in a 2-point stance. So the offensive lineman can move. Hand down on the ground, then the defensive lineman can't move. Let's see what Gene Barth has to say.
We have offsetting fouls. We got defense 93 offside, illegal motion on offensive right tackle. We'll replay it down. 3rd.
So we have a push. They come back and do it over again. 3rd down and a long 6 for the Denver Broncos.
That was a 21-yard pickup on a little shovel pass to Wilhite up the middle. Everyone kind of stopped, so you can't really say it was a big play.
Paul Zimmerman.
Don, I think it's a matter of time before the Steelers are going to start blitzing. When they're rushing 3 and giving away time, I don't care how many guys they've got in coverage, he'll find somebody.
Right now, Elway's sending 2 people out wide to the right. Elway throwing on the run, but he overthrows a wide-open Gerald Wilhite down at the 25-yard line. Wilhite getting inside the zone. But Elway off the run, as you see, a little bit long, and so the Bronco drive stalls, and they'll punt the ball.
Don, they had David Little down in the line as the 4th rusher. He came up with coverage on Wilhite, and it was just overthrown.
Lewis Lips, a game breaker, is back now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And ready to punt now for the Denver Broncos is Chris Norman, averaging just under 42 a punt. The best in the business, or at least in the American Conference, Lewis Lips. He rarely fair catches. Well hit ball. Lips will let it go in if it bounces that way, and it does for a touchback. So the Steelers will get their second possession of the game after a 47-yard punt into the end zone. 1st and 10 for the Steelers at their 20 when we come back with no score. Back at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where the Steelers are a dominant team on their home field, as you see. There's 7:29 to play in the first quarter, no score. Only Only 3 times in 16 years that they lost 2 straight. Steelers were beaten last Sunday by the Washington Redskins.
Here's an interesting quirk, though. During the 80s, they're 29-13, but they're 4-5 against AFC West opponents.
First down and 10 now for David Woodley. Here's a handoff to Pollard, and he takes it across the 25 out to the 27-yard line. So the Steelers get a good run. Going at the right side of the Bronco defense, cornerback Mike Harden came up to make the stop. The Patriots, a contender in the AFC East, have moved in front of Indianapolis 7-0. Tony Easton threw to Irving Fryer for 6 yards and a touchdown.
On that last run by the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's the single play that must work. It's that weak side underneath handoff trap play that Pittsburgh has run since the early 70s.
Second down and 2 coming up. They love to trap block. Pollard gets to the outside. Broncos are waiting for him, and they shut him down on 2nd and a long 2 short of the first down. So it'll bring up 3rd down and about 1.5 yards to go. They have to get out to the 30-yard line for the first down. On the stop was Rick Dennison for the Broncos.
Well, so far, the Denver Broncos have done exactly as they wanted. Make that rushing yardage come tough.
You may recall in the playoff game last December at Mile High Stadium, Pollard had a big day running the ball at the Broncos. Abercrombie ran well also, as the Steelers dominated the game with their ground play. Here is a handoff to Todd Spencer, a big free agent back from Southern California. Powers is way ahead across to the 32-yard line. It's a first down for Pittsburgh.
So far, the only guy to run the ball, Frank Pollard for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Watch the hit here. Pollard goes inside, and he meets Steve Busick, and Pollard puts Busick right back on his back. 5 carries now, 15 yards for Pollard.
First down and 10 for the Steelers. No score in the first quarter. David Woodley gets a lot of time. Loops a long ball. John Stallworth he drops another one at the 37-yard line. Stallworth, 2 open plays, and twice he's dropped the ball.
That ball was not tipped by Harden either.
Right now we have 5:35 to play in the first quarter. As you take a look again.
Good play action fake. Reuben Carter finally gets in there. This ball is not tipped by Harden. Woodley really couldn't follow through to the point where he could get it strongly to John Stallworth, and that's a catchable ball.
John Stallworth, consummate professional. He is to the Steelers what Watson is to the Bronco offense. Here's a run by Abercrombie. He's going to break it for a first down, and Morris, he's out on the dive to the 48-yard line. 16-yard gain by Walter Abercrombie, a former #1 draft choice out of Baylor. And the Steelers move the ball, running it.
Big assist to Ray Penny, the offensive left tackle. Comes to the near side. He does a great job on Simon Fletcher. See him cave that man down in there. Then Abercrombie, with great speed, is able to turn it up. That's the play that the Denver Broncos are going to have to stop. That's the D play that they got to stop.
Have not so far on this drive, as now the Steelers with wide receivers set to either side go first and 10. Woodley looks at Stallworth, comes in high, and Mike Harden puts the hit down at the same time. Oh, it's an incomplete pass again. David Woodley now putting 3 up. He's 0 for 3, but 2 should have been caught, and all 3 have gone to Stallworth.
That is correct. I don't blame him for going to Stallworth. Giants over Cleveland now, 7-0. Joe Morris on a 3-yard run.
So now with 4:48 to play in the first quarter, the Pittsburgh Steelers have the ball at their 49-yard line. Second down and 10 coming up. Lewis lifts, ever dangerous, goes wide to the right. He scored already this season 11 touchdowns, 9 on pass receptions. Near side throw, one receiver fell down. Ehrenberg coming out of the backfield. Again, he was looking over towards Stallworth. So it's an incomplete pass, and now while we have a moment, let's...
John, we got a penalty on Denver here. Steve Busick, contact on Rich Ehrenberg, gives the Pittsburgh Steelers an automatic first down.
So there was a reason he fell down.
Absolutely. Their feet got tangled up. I don't think he was pushed, but the ball was in the air. That's pass interference, and Pittsburgh keeps the drive alive.
And the ball on the penalty call against the Broncos is moved down to the Denver 46-yard line. First down and 10 with no score in the first quarter. 4:44 to play in it. Pollard doesn't get a thing. Frank Pollard is knocked down by Fletcher and Mecklenburg. Cincinnati has now extended its lead over Houston to 14-0. Kinnebrew, the big fullback, 260 pounds, has been in the end zone twice for the Bengals. Everybody a contender in the AFC Central, only one game separating the four teams.
Don, you can see on that particular sweep, Mecklenburg across the line of scrimmage there to make the tackle. They stopped that weak side underneath handoff sweep that time.
Steelers, a tough team to beat in Three Rivers. The Browns are 0-16 here, but Denver's done well over the years, winning 3 of 5 regular season games. Here's a loop pass coming out of that field is Abercrombie, but this is going to come back as there are penalty markers down in the Steeler backfield. Right where Woodley threw the ball back at the 44-yard line.
Holding, 73
Gene Barth with the holding call against the Steelers, stopping the clock with 3:59 to play.
Craig Wolfley caught, and the Denver Broncos staying with that four-man front. Primarily a 34 team. Collier, the defensive coordinator, assistant head coach of the Denver Broncos, staying with the four-man front. He wants Woodley to throw the football.
This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Pittsburg Steelers and the National Football League is prohibited. Now, touchdown for Woodley and the Steeler offense. The Broncos will be coming. Long yardage play, a swing pass out. Ehrenberg has it in a block. He's over the 50. He's still going, and he's down to the 39-yard line. Got him out at about the 40. He'll be short of the first down. An 18-yard gain, though, and it brings up second down, third down, and 3.
One of the things the quarterback has to be on the screen is a good actor. Now watch Woodley. He'll look all over the place. You see, he's looking left. He knows he's going back for the screen. He's great offensive lineman of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Get out there. Wolfley a good block. Webster a good block. Ehrenberg, excellent job.
So David Woodley, Trump, seems to be in good health as he is now started to move the Steelers. Had some early drops by Stallworth, which is rare. Now third down and about 4 where they have the ball spotted. Coming up for Pittsburgh, it is a scoreless first quarter so far. He's hit a well-defended play by Mike Harden of the Broncos. Knocks him down short of the first down at the 39-yard line.
Broncos, Don, lining those cornerbacks and safeties right up on the line of scrimmage. As Chuck Noll now considers, do you go for it, do you punt, or do you place kick? Newsom coming on. Anyway, the coverage by the Denver Broncos, bump and run all along the line of scrimmage, at least making it tough for the receivers to get off the line of scrimmage. That time, Harden right there to stop Ehrenberg for little or no gain.
Newsom, the rookie punter, standing back now at his 47-yard line. Gerald Wilhite back for Denver. Angle punt. Well hit's going to carry in. So a touchback on the punt into the end zone, 39 yards, and it'll come out to the 20-yard line. First down and 10 for Denver when we come back with nothing as yet. Nothing on the board as we're late in the first quarter now. Paul Zimmerman, the Steelers seem to be showing a more diverse offense than they have in recent weeks. Woodley's looking pretty sharp.
Well, he's having some tough luck. The Broncos are defying them to throw the ball. They're going with a 4-3, and the linebackers they have in there are run stoppers. They have Dennison and Busick. They've taken out Tommy Jackson. He hasn't played. He's a coverage guy. Ryan is out. They're defying them to throw the ball, and they're having tough luck throwing it.
Right now, the Broncos have to go from deep in their own end. Here's a fire out, and Elway makes a strike out to the 26-yard line. Steelers think they have the ball, but they're going to rule the man was forward. The forward progress was stopped at the 26-yard line, and so it'll be a down ball there.
Ryan Hinkle was trying to tear that ball loose from the receiver and almost got it done. That was darn close. Winder with a good catch, and it does appear that the Denver Broncos are using good patience here. Watch this catch. Watch Hinkle. That is a real arm wrestle for that football. They are trying desperately to get it away. Couldn't quite get it done.
Brian Hinkle, one of the underrated outside backers in the American Conference. Number 53. John Elway now with a 2nd and 4 play call coming up. Might have changed off as he checks with his runners. Lang and Winder in there, and Sammy gets the ball, and Sammy Winder losing his footing as he cut back, but still looks like he has a first down to the 30.
We got an injury, too. Looks like Keith Willis is coming off, hurt his left shoulder.
Now we have a moment to back back to Three Rivers. We're set to go now. First and 10 as the Broncos did get the first down on the carry by Sammy Winder. Right back to Winder. A penalty marker is down, and so is Sammy Winder at the 30-yard line. He got nothing, trying to go wide left on the Steelers. Very quick linebacker David Little, number 50, came across to get him, and here's a holding call signaled against Denver.
We got 2 flags. One on this side of the field, one on the other side of the field. They might both be against the Broncos.
We have offsetting penalties. Offside, 95 defense. Holding, number 60 offense.
John Goodwin lined up offsides. So it's a wash. There's Keith Willis. Done something to his shoulder on that previous run by Sammy Winder to the near side of the field. Took on the guard pulling Keith Bishop. They have popped his shoulder.
Possibility of a pinched nerve, we're informed now. With 1:28 to go in the first quarter, no score. Broncos have the ball at their 30. First down over again. Elway firing again hard, but that time it was overthrown to Clarence K. Watson was running the deep pattern, and Elway ends the play on his back again as the Steelers are popping him just as he releases.
Clarence K. slipped ever so slightly on the break. And, of course, the quarterback against a very, very tight coverage team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, you want to lead that player as best you possibly can in the slip. That resulted in the incompletion. John Elway, 3 of 6, 31 yards.
Second down coming up at the 30-yard line. No score late in the first quarter. Free ball. Steelers after it. Broncos get it. Sammy Winder fell on it, but he puts the Broncos in jail at the moment as third down will arise from their 16-yard line.
John, it never appeared that John Elway got that ball from Billy Bryant. Watch again on the snap. See, he pulls right away.
Not.
And then the ball, sometimes it bounces for you, sometimes it bounces with you. The guy who invented this game, when he put the football with points on it, he was an absolute genius.
Makes it interesting.
Genius.
When it's on the floor, it does draw a crowd. Now the Steelers fans start up as Elway will have to throw deep. On third down and 22, he'll take the shotgun snap inside his 15. Elway rifles one out, but Brian Hinkle is right there to defend. Vance Johnson is hit as soon as he caught the ball. Way short of the first down, and Denver will punt the ball.
And once again, that full coverage by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Elway not even thinking of going deep.
You were pointing out, Trump, that deep zone of Pittsburgh's does give up some passing yardage, but it's all up front, nothing deep, and Elway had to go a long way there.
They let those receivers catch it, then they absolutely hammer the receiver as they make the reception.
So that's the end of the first quarter of play, and still no score on the... Referee Gene Barth in his working outfit, a veteran National Football League referee, as on a perfect day in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You don't get many of those on December 1. The Steelers and the Broncos are scoreless as we head into the second quarter of play. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy, Paul Zimmerman also with us today. Three Rivers sold out for years like Mile High Stadium in Denver. Broncos ready to punt the ball. Norman standing back, and Lewis Lips. Not the fair caught a punt in his last 21 tries. He's standing back now for the Pittsburgh Steelers at his 32. Not that deep. Carries near sideline. There's also a penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage. A 29-yard punt. Might have been a Bronco downfield early to boot. That's the signal. Somebody left on the flank was too far downfield.
Gee, I think you take the punt. Take the punt.
I think they will.
Number 48, the kicking team, illegally downfield, penalty refused. First down, Pittsburgh.
Man illegally downfield, and so the Steelers get the ball again, but this time their best field position to start at their 46-yard line. December, they've only got 6 yards to date from.
Yeah, well, so far we've got no breakouts. Both teams showing good patience, which is certainly an excellent idea when you're playing quality opponents like this. Now, you've got to be patient.
Woodley's trying to get some on first down as he gets his man down at the 40-yard line. That time, John Stallworth sliding in and coming back at the ball with gloves on, makes the play, and it's a first down for Pittsburgh just inside the 40-yard line of Denver.
One thing you'll notice about the Pittsburgh Steelers all day long is their play action passing. Every single time. That's a 17-yard pickup by John Stallworth, his first catch of the day now. That's why they got to run the ball, to allow them to play action fake, hold those linebackers at the line of scrimmage.
David Woodley comes in with only a 47 quarterback rating, but he had trouble early in the year. It's played well in the recent game. That time he loses it. That could be a free ball. His arm wasn't going forward. Steelers get it, and they get a gain of about 4 yards. Music of the Broncos, 58, had a play on it, but couldn't get to the ball, and it's recovered by the very quick Lewis Lips. So what could have been imminent disaster for the Steelers turns into a bit of a gain.
Both times the ball's been on the ground, once for Denver and once for Pittsburgh. It's bounced in favor of the team that's dropped it. Mecklenburg on the hit. No doubt at all that that is a fumble. Lips very nicely scoops it up. The Steelers have lost the fewest fumbles in the NFL to this point, just 5.
Calvin Sweeney goes wide to the left side now. Lewis Lips is on the right flank. It's second down and a long 6 coming up. Pollard with a blocker out in front. Penny gives him some help, but a superior play by Simon Fletcher. A 6-foot 4-inch, 250-pound rookie from Houston. They like him a lot. Came in the second round of the draft. A look at the scoreboard. New Orleans leading Los Angeles now 6-0 on 2 Morton Anderson field goals. Rams having trouble, albeit still in the lead in the NFC West. Patriots in Indianapolis tied as McMillan ran for a yard and a touchdown. The Bays are scoreless. Tampa Bay and Green Bay. David Woodley dropping on the 3rd and 7 play with no score on the board early in the second quarter. Nice defensive play, but now a flag comes in after it. Mike Harden seemed to be right on time with his hit, but the official right there says no, that it was a foul. It'll be a first down for the Steelers inside the 20-yard line of Denver.
He had the hand out in front of Lips, the left hand, but the right hand was on the back of Lips' body.
31 defense, first down.
First down, Pittsburgh. Denver staying with that 4-man rush. And at the end of this reception, the right arm, you can see the official back there looking right at it. Left arm looks legal. Right arm, contact. That's a 17-yard penalty. Biggest play of the day for either team.
Calvin Sweeney's in the game. He's on the left flank now for the Steelers. Lewis Lips on the right flank. No score on the board, but the Steelers challenging. Deepest penetration by either team. Abercrombie. Down inside the 15-yard line. Walter Abercrombie got about 5. Knocked down on the play by Rick Dennison.
Don, I noticed that Terry Long is in the lineup at right guard for the Steelers.
Now the NFL. X was on the money with that one. Next to the Bengals name at the outset of the pick to win today. Right now, the Steelers on second down and 5 go to a dive play and get the ball down to the 10-yard line. Inside the 10, they'll place it at the 8. Steve Foley and Rick Dennison were on the stop on the play. Frank Pollard getting ahead.
So far, the Pittsburgh Steelers, look at that stat, 18 times, 18 straight times inside the 20.
Here's where the well-schooled Bronco defense gets especially tough, though. First down and goal, Pittsburgh. Not much there as Abercrombie on a slant play is thrown right back. Simon Fletcher was on the play along with Barney Chavis. Game clock ticking down to 11:08 to play in the first half. Still no score on the board. The Steelers with their first threat of this game.
An interesting thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Denver using that 4-man front. They're keeping Reuben Carter on Mike Webster. This is a very good trapping offensive line. If you take somebody off the center, they're going to trap right up the middle. Here's the opportunity right here.
Harking back to what the Denver defensive coordinator Joel Cowder said during the week to his players, unless you stop their run, you'll not beat the Steelers. Right now, Woodley's going to throw.
He can run.
He's got room to run, but he puts it up and it's slapped away. David Woodley had an open track. Those linebackers were all set to come up and put a big pop on him if he went. He has not been in the best of health in the last 10 days, so he threw it and it was juicy incomplete.
Intended for Lewis Lips. Steve Wilson on the coverage.
That stop Stop the clock with 10:33 to play. Cleveland now has put up a couple of touchdowns, one on a Kevin Mack run of 42 yards, another on a 3-yard run by Ernest Biner, and the Browns have come from behind to take a 14-7 lead on the Giants. Third down and goal from the 7-yard line. David Woodley throws. He had Ehrenberg open, but you see came in high. Now the guy who's been the prime mover in the Pittsburgh scoring in the recent weeks, place kicker Gary Anderson, comes out. He has kicked 12 straight field goals for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is the leading scorer again this year in the American Conference. He's led the conference in scoring now for 3 straight years. From Syracuse University, born in South Africa, he's a long-range hitter. Anderson has been phenomenally consistent, looking to extend that to 13 straight field goals. 25-yarder is up and good, so the scoreless tie is broken. Gary Anderson's field goal from 25 gives Pittsburgh a 3-0. Gary Anderson, who just hit a 25-yard field goal to give Pittsburgh the first points of this game, at 3-0 Steelers with 10:26 to play in the first half. Ready to kick it off now. See the deep men. Vance Johnson's back with Gene Lang. Well hit into the end zone. Gene Lang elects not to bring it out, so the Broncos take the touchback and will go from their 21st and 10. Broncos with only 6 yards rushing so far in the game. John Elway and the offense coming out looking to open it up now. Maybe they'll go deep before long.
Well, I don't know that they can stand there and try to throw the ball against this Pittsburgh defense. You're going to have to run the ball to establish some control at the line of scrimmage, or what's going to happen is you're going to have 9 guys back in coverage, and no quarterback can thread that small a needle.
Let's see if he tries to hit it deep on first down. Pittsburgh in its conventional defense. John Elway plays fake and rolling out. He is looking deep, and he throws a strike to Watson out to the 31-yard line. Lost the ball out of bounds. Is it ruled incomplete? Apparently it is. So he did go on first down with the throw, catching the Steelers in their conventional defense. They'll go with as many as 6 defensive backs. New England now leading Indianapolis 10-7. Tony Franklin kicked the field goal, 35 yards. And the Packers on a Lynn Dickey short run. The quarterback went in for the Packers, and they lead 7-0 over Tampa Bay. Now Elway with a tougher down. Second down and 10. Winder, first down, Denver. Sammy Winder picked the spot in that zone defense, Trump, and John Elway put it right on the 2 and the 3.
Rick Woods was the closest man in coverage. You got to admire Denver now in this situation, not trying to get the ball down the field, going to the running backs. Good pass protection up front. And Winder, just a short little 7-yard completion, turns it into a first down.
Denver with only 8 yards rushing so far. Sammy Winder has 7. Lang has 1. The throw by Elway gets 4 new downs for the Broncos, who trail 3-0. Second quarter. Gene Lang, a hard-working back from LSU, takes it ahead, came in having scored 7 touchdowns this year for the Broncos, gained over 300 yards, a per-carry average of just under 4. Keith Willis, the defensive left end, was on the stop for Pittsburgh. Denver's had a problem in the third quarter. Dan Reeves' team so far this year has not scored in the third quarter in its last 5 games. Settled up now. They've not done well coming out after the intermission. Here's Elway against an all-out blitz. Eludes it, throwing on the run, and the coverage is excellent. Now a penalty marker comes in. Watson coming back at the bottom of the 41-yard line of Pittsburgh was struck hard from behind on the official rules. It was an early hit before the ball got there. So a penalty call on this one is going to go against the Steelers.
31 defense, first down.
How about that move by Elway? Did you see that? Bob Coors was all over John Elway on a planned rollout. He bought himself a little more time. Watch from behind. Donnie Shell in coverage on Watson, who last time these two teams met had 11 catches. I certainly want to shut him down today. That's the Denver Broncos' biggest play of the day. Same is true for Pittsburgh, both on penalties.
Steve Watson had a career day in that playoff game. Caught 12 for 177 yards last December. But it wasn't enough as Pittsburgh won the playoff game. Now, Broncos going to the run. Their number 1 draft choice in the game for the first time takes it inside the 40. First round draft choice from Oklahoma. He can play a lot of positions. They can use him as a runner, as a wide receiver. I think he could end up as a Pro Bowl quality tight end because he's getting bigger.
Got such great speed, too. You can do so many things with him. Very similar to Walter Abercrombie. Wouldn't you agree, of the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Doesn't have the same size, but he does do all the diverse things you need in a fullback. Right now, Will Height angled out to the right as a slot back. Denver showing some new formations in this drive. Elway on 2nd and 7. A little bit long for Gerald Wilhite down at the 30-yard line.
Donnie was uncovered, too.
He was. Clock stops. 8:07 to go in the first half, and the Steelers continue to lead this tight game 3-0. The local papers have the Steelers a 1-point favorite coming in.
We got a message from the Pittsburgh Steelers bench. John Stallworth has a pulled calf muscle and may not return.
We haven't seen him since he caught that ball coming back at it. Elway now 5 for 10, throwing the ball for 51 yards. Blitz, they pick it up, and Vance Johnson breaks it. He's down to the 31-yard line. On a 3rd down play, he's just short of the first down. Rick Woods, the cornerback, saved him going a long way. Vance Johnson, the fastest Bronco maybe ever. A superb athlete, was an NCAA long jump champion also as a collegian.
And they got what they wanted in coverage. Single coverage on Vance Johnson. Rick Woods makes a spectacular tackle in the open field. And Denver's got to resort to the field goal by Rich Carlos.
Rich Carlos comes in with 20 hits and 32 field goal attempts this year. He's missed 3 extra points out of 33 tries. It's not been his usual consistent self. 63% now. 4th down and 2. They're going from a straight formation. They're not going to try the field goal.
Too much time. Chris Norman in the ballgame. Too much time.
Number 7 offense. 5-yard penalty.
How about that?
They'll make it a little bit longer as we see Carlos now coming out. They had a field goal team ready, and Elway quickly put his team into formation. But too much time. The 30-second clock ran out, and it's ticking right now.
Don, that was Chris Norman at quarterback, trying to fool the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, fooled themselves.
So Norman will now punt the ball, standing back at his 49-yard line. There's Lewis Lips ready to return it for the Steelers. Norman's been hitting it into the end zone, though, at least the last drive. Big rush. Long hit. Ruled a touchback, and the ball comes out to the 20-yard line. A 36-yard punt by Chris Norman, but a 16-yard net. Not what you want. 1st and 10 Steelers. The running game, all important in that playoff loss to Pittsburgh last December. The Broncos were outrushed 3-1. Today they've been outrushed over 4-1. 58 yards rushing for the Steelers, just 13 for Denver. Woodley, home run ball. Lewis Lips going for it, and it might be intercepted. Let's see who they come up with. They're going to rule it an interception by Steve Wilson of the Broncos. So he turns in the long ball catch on the other side for Denver, and the Broncos send their offense right back out.
19th interception thrown by Pittsburgh quarterbacks throughout this season. And the 14th interception for the Denver defense. Woodley forced this one. There was good coverage on Lewis Lips trying to get it deep. Steve Wilson right in stride with Lewis Lips, which is no small feat. First turnover of the ball game for either team.
So the Broncos have their offense right back out. Denver trailing 3-0, 6:36 to play in the first half. Shot down the middle. Simpson has the ball for the Broncos. He's ahead for a Denver first down. A 13-yard gain straight ahead. Sampson getting more playing time. Now is his 15th reception of the season. GC averages 19 yards a catch.
Eric Williams on the coverage. Interestingly, the Pittsburgh Steelers bid on that play-action fake. And you just mentioned the lack of rushing yardage by the Denver Broncos, just 13 yards. Surprising that the linebackers would fight and fight so strongly.
Elway has hit some big throws earlier in the game. The Broncos have not been in range yet. They trail 3-0. Big rush, swing pass, well executed. The Denver out to the 49-yard line, a gain on the play of about 4. Robin Cole, a veteran inside linebacker, and David Little, another backer on the staff for the Steelers.
To this point, Don, it has not been easy for either team to gain yardage. Both of these defenses, I put in the top 5 you can find in the NFL. Look at that. Against the pass, once again, 60% complete by opponents, but for very little yardage.
Bears number 1 in total defense. John Elway now 8 of 13 for 73 yards for Denver. Winder gets room, and Sammy Winder breaks it. And he's all the way down to the 34-yard line of Pittsburgh. Sammy Winder, a remarkable comeback story. 10 days ago, arthroscopic knee surgery, missed 1 game, and he starts today. And the Broncos finally get a big run, a 17-yard gain.
That's their biggest run of the ball game. Watch what happens. Gary Dunn jumps around. They're running a game up there. Then a good block on the linebacker on the inside. Winders into that defensive backfield. I find it hard to believe that 12 days ago that kid had a knife on his knee. That is remarkable.
Again, a 1st and 10 for the Broncos. They trail 3-0. Elway gets his man. Sammy Winder is down inside the 25-yard line. Rick Woods ran him out of bounds. And Winder running like there was never anything done to his knee. Now the underdog Cleveland Browns, co-leader in the AFC Central with the Steelers, have extended their lead over the Giants to 21-7. Al Gross, a defensive back for Cleveland, ran back an interception 37 yards. The Bengals still a contender in the AFC Central, leading 28-0. The biggest fullback in the game, Larry Kennebrew, scored 3 touchdowns today for Cincinnati. New Orleans, under its new coach, Trump, Wade Phillips on the ball.
You're forgetting William Terry. You mentioned the biggest fullback in the game.
Right. He's an all-purpose back. John Elway takes a look. Looks it long. Sampson Barrett, a touchdown for the Broncos.
No flags.
24 yards, a perfect play for Denver. Sampson breaking off, turning out. Elway read and led him, and the ball was right there for a perfect strike. And so all of a sudden, the Broncos get the drive they were looking for, and the big plays in it. 17-yard run by Sammy Winder, and then the 24-yard strike by John Elway to Sampson.
You see the blitz. Mike Merriweather on the blitz. It looks like single coverage all the way. Dwayne Woodruff. Sampson puts a nice move on him, gets to the outside. That's a strike thrown by John Elway. Sampson has 15 catches, now 4 touchdowns.
Leads 2 catches today, and a 4th touchdown pass reception this season. Elway's numbers building up impressively as Carlos delivers the extra point. John Elway is 10 of 15 throwing the ball for 107 yards and a touchdown. And the Broncos have taken a 7.
Steelers blitz. Hinkle at the bottom, 53. Merriweather at the top, 57. Picked up, single coverage. Dwayne Woodruff can't stay with Sampson, and 6 points in the end zone.
So John Elway's 19th touchdown pass of the season puts the Broncos in front 7-3, and now they kick it off. Downfield it goes. That's Spencer. Big back. Up the middle. Broncos go hunting the football, but don't get it. He's out to the 27-yard line, and there it'll be Pittsburgh on offense, 1st and 10. So the Steelers have the dominance trump in the running game, which the coaches thought was all important. But Elway's right arm makes up for a lot of running.
Well, I'll tell you what, that run by Winder up the middle, the little trap play, really held the linebackers, put the defense in somewhat of a desperate situation. Ball on the plus side of the field. They came with the blitz. First time all-out blitz. Denver beats it.
Now let's see what Woodley does. Steelers, their only production from a point standpoint has been the 25-yard field goal by Gary Anderson. Pollard was for 7. Those Broncos really hunt down number 30. Rick Dennison having a good game, filling in the middle. Made a straight-on hit in the knockdown, and Pollard's a little shaky getting up.
Don, the thing about it is, too, as long as Denver is able to stifle the Pittsburgh running game with a 4-man front, it's going to stay that way. You can see the matchup all along the line there. Good job by Mike Webster getting Greg Bregan out of there, but for very little yardage gained by Pollard.
John Stallworth, normally a starter, out with a leg muscle pull as David Woodley takes a look and guns it near side, and Lewis Swift artfully comes back back at the ball, takes it at the 44-yard line, and they start yelling Lou here in Pittsburgh. A 16-yard gain and a Steeler first down.
Watch the move he puts on. Steve Wilson's the man in coverage, and watch what he does. At the point where Wilson thinks, uh-oh, this is a deep pattern, he turns. That's when Lips makes his break. Boy, that's just beautiful. Timing ball already on the way. 16-yard pickup, easily accomplished.
Lewis Lips, an exceptional athlete, a #1 draft choice a year ago out of Southern Mississippi, a starter in the Pro Bowl. And into this game with 48, now 49 receptions. Scored 11 touchdowns this year. Right back at Lips, but he can't hold on at the 44-yard line of Denver.
Don, in my opinion, they're setting Steve Wilson up here for a deep pattern. One thing a great receiver does is on every single play, whether he's the intended receiver or not, he must accelerate off the line of scrimmage like he's going for the end zone. Last two passes now, he's run very hard off the line of scrimmage, slowed down, and turned around for the reception. They're setting him up to go deep again.
19 yards a catch this season for Lewis Lips. He has to fight through a lot of double teams to get deep, though. Everybody doubles up on a man who was the NFL Rookie of the Year a season ago. Now Abercrombie breaks it. On a 2nd down and 10 play, he's down to the 47-yard line, and a penalty marker is also down.
Mike Harden on the tackle, holding Pittsburgh. The play will come back.
Holding offense, number 65. 10-yard penalty will reach down.
Ray Penny, a veteran from Washington, playing a lot of football games in a row, Trump, from the U.S. Football League.
I think this is his 31st straight football game. He's the only starting offensive lineman for the Pittsburgh Steelers who was higher than a 4th-round draft choice, by the by.
Man down over the ball at center, Mike Webster, has been to 7 straight Pro Bowls. Number 52 ready to snap the ball to David Woodley on a 2nd down and 20 play for Pittsburgh. Woodley takes the full shot. Greg Cragen from Utah State comes blasting right up the middle, shed the block, and David Woodley took a very hard sack. Back at his 26-yard line. We'll watch again.
2nd sack of the day for the Denver offensive line. I don't think Pittsburgh expected to see this 4-man front this much. Boy, he goes right around Kerry Long. Just kind of hand slaps him away. There to make the sack. It's 3rd and a fortnight now for Pittsburgh.
Long way to go for the Steelers. 3rd down and 28. The game clock winding down. 2:30 to play in the first half. The Broncos lead the game 7-3. They came from behind on John Elway's 25-yard touchdown pass. Their last possession to Clint Sampson. Woodley, 3rd and 28. Long ball, and Lewis Lips lets it go through his hands. He must have heard Mike Harden coming up behind him. Looked like it was going to be a sure hit to Lewis Lips. Doesn't let many get by him. Rarely misses. Sure hand in addition to his great athletic ability and his speed. Now they have to punt the ball again. Here's Harry Newsom in.
I'll tell you, one of the problems Pittsburgh now has with Stallworth out, they don't throw the ball to the tight end. They basically have one guy to go to, and that's Lewis Lips.
Denver defense getting tougher as this game wears on. Low punt. It'll come back at him. Vance Johnson to the 40. Oh, goodness. Johnson ran it back 14 yards. It was a 44-yard punt, but a line drive. Dirt Winston, 55, came down and made that hit, the veteran linebacker.
Boy, he parked him, too. From behind the punting team, that first step inside, Smith avoids the penalty, doesn't block, but watch Dirt Winston. Back from New Orleans, home. Hello, AstroTurf, Three River Stadium. My goodness.
Broncos with good position now, though. 2 minutes and 8 seconds to go in the first half. Denver leads the game 7-3 at sold-out Three River Stadium, where the Steelers win almost 80% of the time. Lob throw. Sewell goes for the ball and hit one of the men trying to cover him. Dropping back was Robin Cole. And David Little also back, and it caught one of them right flush in the back. And so with 1:58 to play, there's a break in the action, and the Broncos in Sports Illustrated, they call you Dr. Z. What do you think Pittsburgh has to do now? Denver's started to take over this game.
I think Pittsburgh has to find more weapons. They're out of them. It's a windy day. Woodley can't get his ball to jive with this wind. Elway, who's a gun, can get it through the wind. That's the kind of advantage Namath always used to have as Shea. I think everything is Denver's way now. Woodley's lost Stallworth. They just don't have enough to beat him with.
Interesting observation. The wind could be a force that John Elway can contend with much better than his counterpart David Woodley. We'll see. Elway on 2nd and 10. Stands in. That was a hard ball, and he's got his man. Wilhite coming out of the backfield is across the 45-yard line. It is a first down for the Denver Broncos as Wilhite gets up with a hitch in his step. Well, no sooner said than Elway drills another one into it. So while Joe Wilhite is attended to, we'll be back with the score. They'll be talking to Lyle Alzado. Big Bad Lyle's on the shelf for the rest of this season, although he does a new commercial about every week. He's got to be well financially.
I've never come across anyone who on the field was so different than he is off the field.
He can talk, can't he?
Yeah, and he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
On the field, what a miserable... Take it away, Don.
I'm not sure they love him in Denver off the field. 1:49 to go, first half. Swing, a little shuffle pass to Gene Lang, and he breaks it way down inside the 30-yard line. So Elway, with some sleight of hand, puts a fake out and then shuffles the ball to Gene Lang. A 16-yard gain. That's a completed pass. Elway now 11 of 17.
12 of 17.
Here's the throw, a hard one, and this time it comes into the wrong side of Gene Lang. Second year back from LSU. It'll be 2nd down and 10 for the Broncos from the 27-yard line of Pittsburgh. Denver leads the game 7-3. A touchdown and a John Elway throw to Clint Sampson from 25 yards out. A perfect strike caught in the end zone.
Now we see Lang getting up, limping a little bit. We got Wilhite on the sideline, and the guy who underwent arthroscopic surgery 11 days ago, the healthiest of the three.
Lewis Wright, starting corner and a 4-time Pro Bowler for Denver, out for the game with an injury. Both teams losing troops. Here is an up snap, goes to Sewell. It was a shotgun formation, and the direct snap intentionally went to Steve Sewell. He runs it ahead on 2nd down for not much, as the Steelers weren't fooled. David Little made the knockdown, and the timeout is called. 1:19 to play in the first half.
Watch this. Looks like Sewell almost takes it right away from John Elway. But you're right. It was designed. They couldn't get a man on Gary Dunn. He offsets on the center's nose, and you never really know where Gary Dunn is going to go. He was there to almost take that snap from the center.
So it brings up 3rd down and 7. We're set to go again. The Denver Broncos tied with the Raiders at 8-4. The outset of the day, the Raiders a late start today. They'll play at Atlanta. Scheduling the rest of the way is interesting. It always is down the stretch run of the season. The Broncos go back to Mile High to play the Raiders next Sunday. And then they hook up with Kansas City at Denver on a Saturday afternoon. Conclude on a Friday night at Seattle. The Raiders hook up with Atlanta. And, of course, the game at Denver next week. Play Seattle at Los Angeles. And then the Raiders go against the L.A. Rams at Anaheim. Cincinnati laying waste to Houston as the Bengals staying in the hunt in the AFC Central. 3rd and 7 for Elway and the Broncos. Late in the first half. Elway lost his footing. He was hit from behind trying to go to Butch Johnson as he fell forward. So it brings up 4th down, and Carlos and the field goal team come out.
Keith Willis with pressure on John Elway. A 3-man pass rush of the Pittsburgh Steelers flushed him just enough that he couldn't set up and put real zip on the football. Elway now 12 of 20, 135 yards and a touchdown.
It'll be a 43-yard attempt by Rich Carlos. Gary Kubiak, a quarterback, holds for Denver. Broncos lead the game 7-3. Kick is on the way. Looks like it's right there, and it is. So Rich Carlos officially has a 42-yard field goal, and with 1:08 to play in the first half, the Broncos extend their lead.
Pittsburgh has got to find some offensive weapons. They don't throw the ball to the running backs a great deal, although Ehrenberg has 28 catches for the season. Abercrombie 16 coming into the day. Pollard 12. They got to spread out their offense, try to get the ball down the field. Dr. Z?
I can only see one hope for Pittsburgh in this game, Bob. Tony Dungy has got to abandon that conservative strategy and just force things. He's got to go crazy on defense and pop the ball loose and give them cheap turnovers, because they're not going to do it with their offense.
And take a chance with the big plays.
Take a chance, because they blitzed Donnie Shell on that last one. They came back with the blitz right after the touchdown. They weren't afraid, and they got an incomplete out of it. And I think they've got to keep doing that and force turnovers. That's the only way they're going to get back in this game.
Okay, but Dr. Z, wouldn't you agree that any time one team dictates to another team what they have to do, that other team is in trouble? That's what Denver's doing to Pittsburgh right now.
Unless the other team does it better than what they expect.
True.
Well, we'll see what unfolds now as Carlos kicks off a high spinning kick. He's not gotten distance on his kicks in the recent weeks. That one comes to the 12 where Ehrenberg runs it out. He's met head-on as he gets to the 27-yard line. Woodard came down the field, made the head-on hit for the Denver Broncos, the leading tackler for Denver. 1:08 to play in the first half. The Broncos with a 10-3 lead after they initially trailed 3-0. Now the Steelers are forced into throwing and trying to go deep. Denver, I think Trump has had a double team on Lewis Lips most of the day because he's not been free long. He's caught the ball coming back at it.
And the thing that's really hurt Pittsburgh is with the four-man rush. Now they got three men with Mecklenburg in there. Pittsburgh doesn't really know what Denver's going to do.
Howard heading for the sideline. And the 12th man stops the clock with 57 seconds to play. They boo the play, though, in Pittsburgh as the game was only 3.
Yeah. See, Don, putting Mecklenburg with number 77 in that defensive lineup is a real bit of confusion to any team that they play. He's a defensive lineman in some sets. He's a linebacker in other sets. And offensive linemen generally have to identify guys in 70s, 60s, 80s, 90s. Those are my guys to pass block. But this guy at times is a linebacker. Now he's lined up as a pass rusher on the far side.
Craig Wolfley's out for the moment with a sprained ankle. They expect him back. Here's the throw and a catch. With the ball is Calvin Sweeney. He's out to the 40-yard line. It's a first down for the Steelers, but the clock is ticking. 47 seconds as you see and winding down. Now the Steelers signal for and are allotted a timeout. 45 seconds to play.
Interesting that in the last 2 minutes of a half or a game, you see the officials go to the sideline at the 2-minute warning. They're asking the coach one thing. Who do you want to call the timeouts? And it used to be that one guy in the last 2 minutes could call timeouts, and he was generally the quarterback. But so many quarterbacks got dinged and were lying there unconscious trying to get a timeout that they now have 2. For Pittsburgh, it's Mike Webster, the center, and David Woodley, the quarterback. And that time, Mike Webster called the timeout.
Joel Collier trimmed right down, the longtime defensive coordinator for the Broncos. That was Charles West he walked by before, the defensive backfield coach, pointing. Stan Jones in there.
Going to go back to the touchdown scored by the Denver Broncos. One of the few times the Pittsburgh Steelers came with a blitz. You see Watson in motion. Inside is Sampson. He puts an outstanding move on Dwayne Woodruff. It ends up being a 24-yard pass and catch, and the only touchdown of the first half.
45 seconds to go now in the first half for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're at their 41-yard line, trailing 10-3. Here comes the Bronco rush. Mecklenburg coming hard, a long ball. Ricky Thompson goes for it, but can't hold on at the 13-yard line.
That was close.
Big, rangy wide receiver, 6'6", from Florida State. Almost had it. 39-yard try, but it comes up short.
One of the tallest receivers you'll find in the game, Willis Hope Thompson, at 6'6 and a half. I'm told he is the tallest receiver in the game, and I'll tell you one thing, he should not have been open. With 39 seconds left and a full zone coverage, Joe Collier will have something to say to Mr. Wilson there. Don't let that kid get behind you.
One thing teams haven't had to concern themselves with, Trump, is covering tight ends on the Steelers. They've only caught 3 passes collectively in the first 12 games of the season. And Benny Cunningham is back. Here's a throw to Calvin Sweeney. He's inside the 40, down to the 37-yard line. First down Pittsburgh, and they stop the clock with 32 seconds to play in the first half.
That was well thrown by David Woodley. And Sweeney gets up limping a little bit. This prevent defense for a lot of football teams drives people crazy. 23 yards on the reception. You see from the right-hand side of the screen, this is well thrown by Woodley. This is a prevent defense. Man coverage underneath. Looks like Dennis Smith. Thank God for Mike Harden to make that tackle, or Sweeney goes all the way.
Got a long-range kicker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Gary Anderson has hit from 52 yards this season. He's hit his last 13 field goal attempts in a row. He leads the American Conference in scoring for a third straight year. So the Steelers are about in range, or very nearly, for Gary Anderson to hit it long if they can't get downfield farther.
But he's also with the wind. It's ever so slight breeze, but it is in his favor.
Steelers set with the lanky Weegie Thompson at the top of your screen on the left flank. Lewis flips at the lower portion. Rich Ehrenberg is out of bounds at the 21-yard line. So now the Steelers are in easy range for Anderson, but they want more than that with 27 seconds to play. That was a 15-yard gain on the play.
There you see the coverage, the defensive secondary. You got bump and run on the outside guys. Ehrenberg just runs a nice little out pattern, and that's Dennis Smith in coverage behind him. Pittsburgh's done an outstanding job. They got the ball at their own 27-yard line. Now at the Denver 21.5.
Extra DBs in the game now. Daniel Hunter in. Robbins is in. Tony Lilly. As it's first down and 10 for Pittsburgh. Woodley gets some time, but not long. A free ball, and there's going to be a holding call on the play in addition, as Mecklenburg again came through, and so did Rulon Jones. Two players that, starting the day, had combined for 17 sacks for the Broncos.
Got a flag, too.
Might be a hit to the head. Broncos say the call is going to go, and so does referee Gene Barth against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Line of scrimmage was the 21-yard line.
That hurts. That really hurts. It's from the spot of the foul, too, I believe. That's going to be an expensive penalty against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It'll make it a very long field goal attempt. The bearded gentleman in the Steeler cap there is Mark Malone, who's now out 5 weeks with a dislocated toe. Started to throw this week. Could conceivably come in.
Pittsburgh left tackle.
But it's
penalty
unlikely.
refused. The ball was fumbled out of bounds on the 32-yard line. It's second down from the 32.
You see the game's up front. Mecklenburg from behind David Woodley. Second time he's got to him.
Fumble.
That is a fumble. And, of course, Denver could not. Whoa, I don't know about that. They ruled that he did not retain possession. But Pittsburgh's ball, but it cost him about 12 yards.
Broncos take the play. Fumble resulting in a big loss, so now it's second down 21. Woodley has a man. Ehrenberg slides in at the 15-yard line and calls timeout with 13 seconds to play.
That prevent defense. A lot of people say that prevent defense allows teams to win. But the idea of the defense is you simply don't allow anyone behind you. But unfortunately, that puts the players in a mindset where we don't care if they catch it in front of us. Now, this is certainly Gary Anderson's range, no question about it. Hitting 13 straight. Got to think that this is a sure shot for Pittsburgh if they maintain possession. I'd look for a trap here, Don, by the Pittsburgh Steelers. A trap right up the middle.
Check out our guest here, Dr. Z. What do you think of this whole procedure at the point?
I think they were crazy not to blitz Mecklenburg again. Every time that guy comes in, something happens. Now they drop him back into coverage. He has time. What good is he doing in coverage watching Ehrenberg catch the ball? He's most valuable coming in there and forcing things. And then when things get tough, they drop him out. I can't understand that.
Catch by Ehrenberg brought the ball down to the 17-yard line with 13 seconds to play. First half. Denver Broncos lead the game, as you see, 10-3. Touchdown throw by Elway to Simpson. A field goal by Carlos. Third and a long 5 into the end zone. Ehrenberg can't hold on. Robbins was with him. Randy Robbins, second-year DB from Arizona, went high. And as you see, Ehrenberg is down. He's been playing with a thigh muscle pull. Gary Anderson comes out.
Man, what is this? Ehrenberg is their best receiver out of the backfield. Stallworth on the sideline. Single coverage. Ehrenberg almost beats that single coverage. Let's see if we can tell what happened. Oh, that's a nice stretch. I can't really tell what he did.
Robbins made him throw high. Randy Robbins was on the play, 48 for the Broncos. Ehrenberg coming off under his own power, but he's limping, playing with a badly pulled hamstring. Now a 34-yard field goal is set up. Scott Campbell is the holder. He's a backup quarterback for the Steelers.
And you got to like Gary Anderson's chances. Bronco opponents have yet to miss a field goal inside the 40-yard line against Denver this season. They're 17 for 17. This kid has kicked 13 straight, but they won't give it to him. He's going to have to make it.
He does with 9 seconds on the half. It'll be a 10-6 game. He's right up there and good. So the Steelers get 6 points in the first half on a pair of field goals by Gary Anderson. They now come back to within 4, and they'll kick it off with 5 seconds to play in the half. It's a 10-6
game. Both teams have shown great patience. And of course, a lot of people who are Denver fans are now going to say, why in the world do you persist in running that prevent defense? I mean, it didn't prevent anything, but in fact it did. It kept them out of the end zone. They kicked the field goal. This may be the big play, too. The sack, this counts as a sack by Mecklenburg on David Woodley. When the ball is loose, this is ruled no possession by Denver. But it looks darn close. He's got to have full control of it before he goes out of bounds. It's very tough to rule possession. But the official said no. It's Pittsburgh's ball at that point. It was a fumble.
And the Steelers subsequently turned it into a field goal. Then
everything is going Pittsburgh's way. They're getting the bounces, they're getting the recoveries, they're getting the calls. The problem is they're not, except for that drive there when Denver played layback and gave them the field goal, they're not getting the offense. On a day like this, I don't know how Pittsburgh is going to find enough things to do.
Johnson runs the ball, and the clock down to 2 seconds to play in the first half, so the Broncos will run one play and out. It'll be halftime. Denver leading the game 10-6. You're not impressed then with the Steeler offense. Looked pretty diverse early as Woodley got a nice screen. He got a good run a couple of times.
I like their offense when Denver is playing that zone and giving them big holes and plenty of time to throw it, because I think anybody is going to move against an offense like that. But when there's pressure and when there's, really the need for a great throw and a great play, I haven't seen it.
Hard-hitting game, low on turnovers so far. Right now, the Denver Broncos come out with the ball at their 18-yard line, first down and 10, and just 2 seconds to play in the first half. That'll do it. Gene Lang runs the ball and runs out the clock. Dan Reeves and his Broncos head to the locker room. Looks like Dan Reeves is looking for a referee. He is.
He's going out to Gene Barth and say, hey, look, we think that was our possession up there. We saw it on the screen. They have the diamond vision here in Three River Stadium, and he's saying our guy had full possession. It resulted in 3 points for Pittsburgh.
In Denver, he gets the call.
Well, you may be right.
Well, he's going to work on it, Dan Reeves. Broncos winners of 8-4. 8 wins in 12 games so far this season. Only the San Francisco 49ers have a better regular season record over the last 2 regular seasons.
Once again, this fumble, Mecklenburg on the sack. The ball is loose. It is free and recoverable by either team. At what point and how do you rule possession? He must have it completely in his grasp before he goes out of bounds. It appears he does. But the officials rule that he did not have the ball. Is that Woodard on the recovery? Anyway, Pittsburgh gets 3 points.
So it's halftime. We'll be back with the halftime.